we are going to be having a terrific guest this morning. We're going to have one that's going to call in shortly. He's a 4-star general, Barry McCaffrey, who is the former U.S. drug czar. And we are going to be interviewing later in the hour. Alexis Dupre is our Miss New Mexico, who's just come back from Atlantic City, New Jersey, and her mom is going to be here to discuss some of the things that happened and what that week was like and some of the things, because they have moved it from Las Vegas, Nevada to Atlantic City, New Jersey. Okay, we have a caller on the air. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Well, actually, we now have Marcia and Joanne. You'll have General McCaffrey and Andy Eckert and Alexis Dupre on the air right now as scheduled for your show.
All right. Well, Joanne isn't with us this morning, but Les is here and I'm here, and so welcome. We're glad to have you on the phone.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Yeah.
Well, it's terrific, and of course, you know Alexis Dupre is a friend of mine. Good morning, Alexis.
Morning, Marcia. How are you?
I'm going to have your mama here with me shortly, too. So, well, we're so glad that you would take time out of your very busy schedule to call us and tell us what is going on with this event that you're putting on. Sounds like a huge conference, and it's scheduled for, actually, for this afternoon, or this evening, later in the day.
Yeah, hi, this is Andy Eckert. I'm the CEO of CRC Health Group, and we're the proud owners of a fantastic center called Life Healing Center in Santa Fe. We're celebrating Life Healing's 20th anniversary.
Well, congratulations on that.
Over 5,000 patients treated in its history for various substance abuse, trauma events, trauma treatment, just a world-class, well-known facility. And the real reason we're here, in addition to that, is this is National Recovery Month. Each September, our field celebrates National Recovery Month. There's over 20 million Americans today that are in recovery from some form of substance abuse, but yet there's 24 million or more Americans that need this exact type of treatment and aren't receiving it. And so one of the things we try to do with events like this and being on the radio with folks like you is to highlight that gap, that need exists out there, and to make sure that your listeners know that there's help available. And so today, big event, 11 a.m. out on Vista Point Road in Santa Fe at the Life Healing Center. If folks want to learn about that, they should go to our website, life-healing.com, or phone us at 877-446-4128.
Say those last four numbers again. They kind of drowned out a little bit.
Sure, it's 877-446-4128.
Okay, now, if someone is listening and they know of someone who needs treatment, is that the best avenue that they need to do to contact you that way?
Absolutely. One of your local listeners should go on the phone, and you mentioned that it's not do they have someone. The chances are someone in their family. I'm a big believer. Every single family in this country has a story.
Right.
It can be a good story. It can be a bad story, but every family has a story. Everyone has a friend. Everyone has a cousin who has a challenge, and help is available. I mean, we are really focused on this just in the problem, obviously, here in New Mexico. The TV show Breaking Bad has highlighted, brought a lot of attention to what life is like out there in the real world. A couple of stats for you. Just in the last year, we've seen heroin usage grow dramatically. In the last 8 years, we've seen it grow 53% in the last 8 years.
Golly.
And, here in this country, with 5% of the world's population, we're using over 80% of the world's supply of opioid, hydrocodone, OxyContin, etc. And so we've got a real problem here. And fortunately, our organization and many others like it are here to help. And folks just have to do a little bit of homework. Their friends, their fathers, mothers have to do a little bit of homework. Get on the phone. Call us, again, at 877-446-4128.
Well, I know what you're talking about. Everybody has one. Sometimes in this culture, it's not just one anymore. It's there may be several people who are having some severe issues. Now, where is it they would actually go if they called you and set something up? Where is it they would actually be going?
Well, we are fortunate. Our organization is the largest nationwide organization in the treatment field. We have over 140 programs around the country. We operate in almost 30 states. We treat 33,000 people every single day. And this is, we're adding capacity because of the ever-expanding population that's succumbed to this disease, this chronic condition. And so if you go on our website at crchealth.com.
And what does that stand for?
CRC is just our name.
Okay.
So that's one place to look. And again, here in New Mexico, the best place to look is life-healing.com.
Okay. All right. This is a really interesting thing. I did not know that this was available, and so I'm finding this to be really fascinating. And how does this work out with former veterans who have fallen into the trap of either having been hurt and they've resorted to drugs or alcohol or something? How does that help them?
Well, nationwide, we've had 3.5 some odd million of our young men and women serving in Iraq or Afghanistan. When they come home, a substantial number have alcohol problems. 58,000 killed and wounded. There's a real war going on. It's gone more than 12 years, so there have been challenges. But that kind of issue also comes up with first responders. So CRC they had me talk to the National Association of Firefighters a couple of weeks ago, where we have to recognize that the uniformed services, the people that put their lives at risk day in and day out to protect us, can have associated trauma issues as well as and try and cope with them through alcohol or drug abuse. This is essentially a fatal illness. So what we need to do, whether you're the boss, the employer, or the dad or mom, you got to face up to the issue. You have to confront the individual, and you have to seek help. And that's the good news. Look, if your loved one goes out to Life Healing Center and spends a month there, the chances are overwhelming they will deal not just with the chronic substance abuse problem, but also the associated trauma that may well have led to this substance abuse.
Mm-hmm.
So help possible.
And so I take it now that we are talking with you, General?
Yes, I'm Barry McCaffrey.
All right. Well, welcome to the show, and and thank you for your service. We appreciate it so much. And so tell us a little about you and how you got involved in this.
Well, I came out of the military in 96 and was appointed as an unwilling volunteer to be the drug policy director for the U.S. So for more than 5 years, I worked this issue: prevention, education, treatment, international cooperation, research. When I left government in 2001, I knew that the most important aspect of drug and alcohol abuse, by the way, is prevention and education.
Right.
Your listeners, if they want to fight a war on drugs, sit down at their own kitchen table and talk to their own children. So it's homeroom teachers, pediatricians, ministers, coaches. That's the heart and soul of a drug strategy. The most stigmatized and difficult issue is those of us who have a drug and alcohol problem. There's 20 million of us in the country or more. They don't receive treatment. So I wanted to get involved in that area. CRC had tremendous energy, integrity. They were expanding at a rapid rate. So for more than 10 years now, I've been associated very proudly with CRC. I'm also in the National Association of Drug Courts. We've got more than 3,000 drug courts around the country, and I help with the National Institute of Drug Abuse in a variety of ways.
Well, we sure appreciate the fact that there's somebody with your credentials out there working on behalf of people who need so much help. And as you mentioned, with this many people that are going untreated, it's a scary thought because sometimes they take things too far within their communities or their own families, and violence results. And if there is help available, this is a terrific way to do this.
We know Alexis Dupre, Miss New Mexico's platform, really is associated with that issue.
Marcia?
Yes. Hi, Alexis. Congratulations on representing New Mexico so very well.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm really excited to be up here for this. I've never done an event like this before, but when I heard, the topic of what this event was going to be and my own personal platform, which is the power of one single-parent families, I realized that they're really correlated. And so I did some research on, drug usage in New Mexico, especially after that show that they talked about, Breaking Bad.
Mm-hmm.
It was even really relevant. And it turns out it is. Especially in Doña Ana County, which is where I go to school at New Mexico State, the availability of drugs on high school campuses has nearly doubled since 2001, and more than 18% of New Mexico teens say they first tried marijuana before they were 13 years old, which is twice as high as the national average, according to the CDC. So I thought that was really interesting, and we've been talking all morning about how marijuana can be somewhat of a gateway drug and start the, slippery slope. And my platform focuses on, a strong, successful family unit to prevent this kind of startup. And I liked what Barry said about, surrounding ourselves with good people because, as the child of a single parent, my mom worked a lot, and while we did have a really great bond, we didn't spend maybe as much time together because we were both working. So she made sure, and I made sure, that we surrounded ourselves, or I surrounded myself with great teachers and great coaches and really great friends. And it was pretty difficult because I grew up in Alamogordo, New Mexico, which is a very small town. And while I love that hometown feel, it's a little bit difficult to not, make up things to do, most of those being, illegal activities. So I got involved in positive extracurricular activities with a group of positive people around me.
Well, and it always boils down to everyone has a choice. You have a choice to follow in the footsteps that you've grown up in, or you have a choice to not do that. And you chose to go in the right direction, and kudos to you and your mom because it could have, you could have gone differently. Everybody has that choice. And you chose not to do drugs. You chose to get an education and excel, and that's wonderful. So you have seen other people that you know that have fallen into the trap of drugs, and in your position as Miss New Mexico, you'll be able to reach a lot of young people for positive, and I'm proud of you for that.
Thank you. We were talking earlier again, and I can testify that I know a handful of people that have not only recovered from a serious drug problem, but also another handful of people that still need to get help for a serious drug problem.
Well, there will always be those, but a lot of the things that people need to be aware of, because a lot of times people are real innocent about what to look for. Can you list some of the things to look for of someone who may have a substance abuse, and you're just oblivious to it, completely unaware, thinking, oh no, that person wouldn't have a problem. Can you list some things that maybe are things to watch for?
Oh, sure. There's, anxiety, sleeplessness, any abrupt change in kind of regular and traditional behavior for the individual. Certainly a new group of friends, new daily activities, any sort of disruption or dislocation in the family structure is often a trigger towards this. And so I think any kind of life event that has occurred is often a trigger. We hear a lot about injuries that occur as being a gateway. The first painkiller leads to the fifth painkiller leads to someone all of a sudden taking 10 Vicodin a day.
So trauma is an issue.
Even middle-aged people. Yesterday, who at age 60 was found himself after a back injury addicted to Vicodin, to the point where he was calling his friends and asking if they had any spare painkillers. Fortunately, was aware enough to intervene with in his own behavior. So this can happen to anyone at really any time. We have to be very, very cognizant as family members and as friends and as folks at church together to be on the watch out for this. And obviously, as we all know, young adults and teens are most at risk.
I tell you, let me add one that is a shorthand, too, for your listeners. You know, because there's an employer out there right now or a parent that wonders if they've got a chronic problem with one of their loved ones. And I tell people, if in a given year you had a major incident in legal areas, work-related problems, social problems, or medical problems that was caused by alcohol or illegal drugs, you have a chronic substance abuse problem. Don't kid yourself. That's what's going on.
That's good to look for. Actually, that's such a good point. I'd like for you to make it a second time.
Well, I think the worst part about addiction is denial. It's denial and stigma. And the denial occurs, the individual himself says, look, I know I drink a lot, but it's not really a problem. I'm not an alcoholic. Their parents don't want to recognize it. The boss, the employer, says he's a hard-working guy. We value him. He's been here 15 years. So it's across the board, it's denial. This illness, chronic substance abuse, is a lethal, fatal illness. So if you don't intervene, if you don't get to a place like Life Healing Center here in Santa Fe, at some point you'll bottom out and you'll be either be a fatality or be behind bars. 2.1 million people in America behind bars. In my judgment, 80% or more actually ended up there because they have chronic alcoholism or drug abuse.
Isn't that incredible? That's incredible. Okay, now, so what's going on at this event today in Santa Fe? It's a big deal, and you're talking about where it's going to be and what time and who the speakers are. Shall we go through that?
Sure. We've got, it's 11 a.m. The Life Healing Center is located at 25 Vista Point Road in Santa Fe. It's about 15 minutes from the plaza. We're celebrating National Recovery Month. Again, this is the month of the year where we tend to rotate these events amongst our many facilities around the country to draw attention to this dire plague we have in our country. Today we have the Sheriff, Santa Fe County, Sheriff Garcia. We've got Jennifer Padgett, Deputy Secretary of the State Department of Children, Youth, and Families. Barack Wolf, former director of the New Mexico Public Health Division, and a number of other dignitaries in the community, as well as some folks who are in recovery themselves, who will tell their stories.
Good.
And how they have managed this chronic condition.
Those personal stories reach a lot of people.
Yeah, it's going to be a great event. Everyone's invited. Come on out. We're also celebrating this year 80 years at AA and 60 years at NA, and so a lot is going well in the field where we are. But obviously, the mountain continues to grow, the challenge continues to grow, and our company and many others in the community here are passionately fighting for folks who need a new lease on life.
By the way, CRC does strongly endorse AA and NA.
What is NA? I'm sorry, I'm not aware of what NA is.
Narcotics Anonymous.
Oh, right,
okay. Similar program that gets millions of people quietly into sobriety.
Okay, good. All right. Well, gentlemen, I hope you have a terrific, and you're also going to have a balloon lift off today as well.
Yep, it'll be spectacular against the beautiful mountains on a sunny New Mexico day, and so I'm looking forward to that very much. That's a tradition.
Well, I think it sounds like a great event, and I'm so glad you called in today, and I know you're going to enjoy having Alexis Dupre there with you, and her mom just came into the studio, and so now we're going to chit-chat with her. And so, gentlemen, thank you so very much for what you're doing on behalf of drug addiction and getting help. I really appreciate you calling in, and it is Santa Fe's Life Healing Center there in Santa Fe. And gentlemen, thank you so very much, and have a very blessed day.
Okay.